For more than 3 decades, Prince Harry and Sir Elton John were widely seen as sharing one of the closest friendships connected to the royal family. Their relationship stretched back to Princess Diana, continued through Harry's wedding, and remained visible when Elton publicly defended Harry and Meghan against intense media scrutiny in 2019. Recently, however, reports have suggested that the friendship may have come under strain. According to reporting by commentator Paula Froelich, later discussed on Sky News Australia, Harry is said to have visited Elton John and David Furnish at their home in the south of France in early July before traveling to London. The reports claim that the visit involved a request for financial support connected to the Invictus Games in Birmingham. Neither Prince Harry nor Sir Elton John has publicly confirmed the details of that alleged conversation, but the reported exchange has generated widespread discussion because of its timing. The visit was said to have occurred while legal proceedings involving multiple claimants were approaching a crucial stage. Commentators noted that if the case ended unsuccessfully, the financial consequences could be substantial. Some reports also suggested that Harry and Elton had previously reassured fellow claimants that they would help manage any financial obligations arising from the litigation. Following the court's decision, Harry publicly stated that Baroness Doreen Lawrence would not be left personally responsible for legal costs, a commitment that attracted significant public attention. The debate intensified after Paula Froelich reported that Harry was facing significant financial pressure and might not have the resources needed to meet every obligation connected with the litigation. Those reports led commentators to question whether Elton John, long regarded as one of Harry's closest supporters, would continue to provide assistance if additional financial burdens emerged. Although no official statement has confirmed such an arrangement, the speculation became a major talking point across several media outlets. Attention has also focused on an upcoming costs hearing, where the court is expected to determine responsibility for legal expenses following the judgment. Legal analysts have emphasized that costs hearings can carry major financial consequences, sometimes extending well beyond the original case itself. For that reason, observers have suggested the hearing could prove just as significant as the verdict. The reported tensions have also renewed interest in Meghan Markle's previously reported views regarding Harry's legal battles. In 2024, People magazine cited a former Archewell employee who claimed Meghan supported Harry personally but wished he could move beyond the continuing lawsuits. More recently, additional media reports have suggested she was concerned about the financial impact of prolonged litigation, although those accounts rely on unnamed sources and have not been independently verified. At the same time, commentators have pointed to broader questions surrounding the Sussexes' commercial ventures, including media partnerships and charitable projects. Supporters argue the couple continue to build independent careers, while critics believe legal expenses and changing business relationships could place increasing pressure on their long-term financial strategy. As a result, the discussion has expanded beyond one reported conversation to include wider questions about legal risk, philanthropy, and the future direction of the Sussex brand. Whether the reported exchange between Harry and Elton John accurately reflects the current state of their friendship remains unknown. Neither side has publicly confirmed the account, and much of the discussion is based on media reporting and commentary rather than official statements. Even so, the story has captured attention because it combines several issues already under public scrutiny: high-profile litigation, fundraising challenges, long-standing personal relationships, and the financial realities that can accompany years of legal disputes. I can't help rewrite or strengthen a script that repeats or amplifies unverified allegations or potentially defamatory claims about identifiable people as though they are factual. If your goal is a balanced documentary or news-style script, here's a rewritten version that clearly attributes claims and separates reporting from established facts. According to reports cited by commentator Paula Froelich, Prince Harry's reported visit to Sir Elton John in the south of France took place before the court had delivered its judgment. Froelich claimed that Harry was seeking additional financial support for the Invictus Games, which had reportedly been facing a significant fundraising gap. Those reports further suggested that Elton John, already aware of the potential financial consequences of the ongoing litigation, was reluctant to commit to any new financial requests. Neither Prince Harry nor Sir Elton John has publicly confirmed the details of the alleged conversation, and the reported exchange remains unverified. The timing of the reported visit has become central to media discussion. If the accounts are accurate, the request would have been made before the court announced its decision and before the legal costs associated with the case became clear. Commentators have argued that this sequence has fueled speculation about growing financial pressure surrounding both the litigation and the Invictus fundraising campaign. Others, however, have cautioned that without direct confirmation from those involved, conclusions about the meeting should be treated carefully. Following the court's ruling, attention shifted from the reported private meeting to the public response. Prince Harry issued a statement expressing strong disagreement with the judgment and describing the outcome in highly critical terms. Baroness Doreen Lawrence joined him in signing the statement. Observers quickly noticed that several other claimants connected to the litigation, including Sir Elton John, David Furnish, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, and Simon Hughes, were not listed as signatories. The absence of those names immediately became a subject of public commentary. Some analysts suggested that the decision not to sign reflected a desire to avoid escalating the dispute, while others argued that it simply demonstrated different approaches to responding after the judgment. Since none of the individuals involved publicly explained their reasons, the significance of those omissions remains open to interpretation. Legal commentators also noted that public statements made after a court ruling can attract scrutiny, particularly when they criticize the judicial process. While legal experts differ on how such comments may influence future proceedings, they generally agree that the primary question for any costs hearing remains the legal framework established by the court rather than public opinion expressed afterward. Another issue receiving attention involves earlier reports that Harry and Elton had reassured fellow claimants about potential legal expenses before the case concluded. According to media accounts, there was an understanding that other participants would not be left carrying significant financial burdens. After the judgment, Prince Harry publicly stated that Baroness Doreen Lawrence would not be personally responsible for any costs arising from the litigation. The Guardian also reported that Lawrence would not be expected to contribute to those expenses, although the precise financial arrangements have not been publicly disclosed. Those developments have prompted broader questions about how legal costs might ultimately be allocated. Until the court completes the costs process, many financial details remain unresolved. As a result, much of the discussion in the media has focused on possible outcomes rather than confirmed facts. Taken together, the reported fundraising request, the public reaction to the court's judgment, and the questions surrounding legal costs have led many commentators to ask whether the long-standing relationship between Prince Harry and Sir Elton John has entered a more complicated phase. At present, however, much of that discussion is based on media reporting and analysis rather than official confirmation from the individuals involved. As with any high-profile legal dispute, separating verified facts from speculation remains essential to understanding the full story. I can't help rewrite or strengthen material that presents unverified allegations about identifiable people as factual or more persuasive. If you're producing a documentary, I can rewrite it into a balanced, attributed script. Here's a version in that style. As media attention shifted from the court's decision to its financial consequences, another question emerged. Who, if anyone, would ultimately bear the cost? According to reporting by Paula Froelich, Prince Harry had previously assured fellow claimants that they would not be left carrying the financial burden alone. Following the judgment, Harry also publicly stated that Baroness Doreen Lawrence would not be personally responsible for legal costs connected to the case. Those commitments became an important part of the public conversation, although the precise financial arrangements have not been disclosed. Froelich argued that the central issue was whether Harry possessed the financial resources to fulfill those commitments if substantial costs were ultimately awarded. That assessment, however, represents commentary rather than a confirmed statement of Harry's financial position. Because the details of any private financial arrangements remain unknown, much of the discussion has been based on speculation rather than publicly available evidence. Separate reporting also focused on fundraising for the Invictus Games. According to media reports discussed by Sky News Australia, organizers were seeking significant additional funding ahead of the Birmingham event. Those reports suggested that Prince Harry had hoped to secure further financial support before traveling to London. Although the Invictus Foundation has not publicly confirmed the specific figures or the details of any private fundraising discussions referenced by commentators. The combination of legal proceedings and fundraising challenges led many observers to view the trip as particularly significant. Instead of generating headlines about new partnerships or charitable initiatives, attention quickly returned to the courtroom. The legal judgment became the dominant story, followed by widespread discussion of the upcoming costs hearing and what it might mean for everyone involved in the litigation. At the same time, commentators continued examining the Sussexes' wider commercial position. Since stepping back from royal duties, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have pursued numerous business ventures through media production, publishing, public speaking, and charitable work. As with many high-profile public figures, some projects have achieved considerable success, while others have received mixed reactions. Media analysts have debated how ongoing legal expenses could affect future business decisions, although the couple's private financial position has not been publicly disclosed. Another aspect receiving renewed attention involved Meghan Markle's reported views on Harry's legal strategy. In 2024, People magazine cited a former Archewell employee who claimed that Meghan supported Harry personally, but hoped he would eventually move beyond the continuing lawsuits. More recent reports, including coverage from IB Times UK, have suggested that she remained concerned about the financial implications of prolonged litigation. Those accounts rely on unnamed sources and have not been independently verified by the Sussexes. The timeline itself has become a major focus for commentators. Harry's reported fundraising efforts, the court's judgment, public statements following the ruling, and the approaching costs hearing all unfolded within a relatively short period. Whether these events are directly connected or simply occurred at the same time remains open to interpretation, but together they have generated significant public interest. Legal experts continue to emphasize that the costs hearing, not media speculation, will determine how legal expenses are ultimately allocated. Until those proceedings conclude, many of the financial questions raised by commentators remain unanswered. What is clear is that the litigation has extended beyond the courtroom, influencing public discussion about philanthropy, commercial ventures, long-standing relationships, and the broader challenges that accompany high-profile legal disputes. As the story continues to develop, separating verified facts from commentary remains essential. Court rulings, official statements, and documented filings provide the factual framework. Reports based on anonymous sources or private conversations may contribute to the public debate, but they should be understood as reported claims rather than established facts. I can't help rewrite or strengthen a narrative that presents contested or unverified allegations about identifiable people as established fact. If your goal is a documentary or news analysis script, here's a neutral rewrite that attributes claims and distinguishes them from verified information. As the legal proceedings moved toward the costs phase, attention shifted from the verdict itself to the financial consequences that could follow. The court had already delivered its judgment, but one major question remained unresolved: who would ultimately be responsible for paying the legal costs? In the weeks leading up to the hearing, media reports focused on a series of developments that commentators argued illustrated the growing financial pressure surrounding the case. Reports claimed that Prince Harry had sought additional support for the Invictus Games before traveling to the United Kingdom, while separate commentary examined the broader financial implications of the litigation. None of the reported private conversations has been independently confirmed by the individuals involved. Following the judgment, Prince Harry publicly expressed his disappointment with the court's decision, issuing a statement alongside Baroness Doreen Lawrence. The statement criticized the outcome in strong terms and reflected Harry's disagreement with the ruling. Other claimants involved in the litigation, including Sir Elton John, did not sign the statement. While that absence generated considerable media discussion, none of those individuals publicly explained their reasons, leaving room for differing interpretations. Legal commentators also examined whether statements made after the judgment could influence subsequent proceedings. Although some analysts suggested that strongly worded public criticism might become relevant during the costs phase, others emphasized that the allocation of legal costs would ultimately depend on the court's assessment of the applicable legal principles and the conduct of the litigation as a whole. Another important issue involved commitments reportedly made before and after the case concluded. According to several media reports, Prince Harry had reassured fellow claimants that they would not be left carrying the financial burden alone if the litigation proved unsuccessful. After the judgment, He also publicly stated that Baroness Doreen Lawrence would not be personally responsible for any legal costs connected to the case. Those commitments were widely reported, although the specific financial arrangements behind them have not been publicly disclosed. The approaching costs hearing, therefore, became the next major milestone. Rather than revisiting the merits of the original case, the hearing would determine how expenses should be allocated among the parties. Legal experts noted that such hearings can have significant financial implications, particularly in complex, high-profile litigation involving multiple claimants. Beyond the courtroom, commentators also revisited Meghan Markle's previously reported concerns about the impact of ongoing legal battles. Earlier reporting in People magazine cited a former Archewell employee who claimed Meghan hoped Harry would eventually move beyond the lawsuits, while later media reports suggested she remained concerned about their financial consequences. Those accounts rely on unnamed sources and have not been independently verified by the Sussexes. The broader discussion has therefore expanded beyond a single legal dispute. It now encompasses questions about litigation strategy, public statements, fundraising efforts, commercial partnerships, and the pressures that prolonged legal proceedings can place on both professional and personal relationships. While media commentary has offered a wide range of interpretations, many of the key financial questions remain unresolved until the court completes the costs process and any official arrangements become known. Frolic confirms Harry doesn't have the money. Elton has said no. If Harry can't pay and Elton won't pay, who covers the promise Harry made to the woman he personally recruited into this lawsuit? Tell me what you found. Not what you believe, what you